All right, let's get started for a Monday. How's everybody doing? Feeling a little bit better? Let's get that happening. Thank you. What's going on, chat? Welcome back. Happy Monday. Today's April 4th. We're here for the Harmonic Pattern Podcast every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, about 11:30, 11:45. You guys know how it goes. Depending on what's happening with me, not much. Maybe we do 11:30. Other things. Let's go 11:45, a little before noon. Today I'll try to get through a lot. I want to go through crypto. Crypto week down here in Miami, Bitcoin conference. A lot's happened since a year ago. So, let's take a second and talk about it. Get some perspective and figure out where this thing's headed. Bitcoin did the big bounce we know last week, and the breakout. What I was talking about was essentially we've been realized where we raced up to the 47,000 and now we're doing a pause. That's all it is. We're still in a pause. I said that when we left on Friday or Thursday, and now we have actually a bullish pattern. So a lot to consider. At least we've gone through that pause phase, and I think it's following the framework. So it's not surprising. I wasn't too surprised, not too shocked to see a downdraft. And if you take a look at the sessions last Monday or even Thursday of saying a move down to 45, maybe as low as 44, I wouldn't want to see below 44. Again, I mentioned that on Thursday. But we're in that pause here, back to 44. And we did get the pattern. I didn't really know exactly what kind of pattern, probably a bat. I think I mentioned that. But now we have it. And that's, it's not so much that anything was coming together at that particular point. It's just the repetition, folks. It is the repetition. It is the, it's coming from looking through the M and W formations on price charts that establishes the framework that helps us to build the analytical argument for what the heck is going to happen. So what we've seen in the last 3-4 days, pretty natural after a nice run, and if anything, probably gives you an ideal bullish retracement pattern where it's going through the type 1, type 2 process right now. This is a 4-hour chart for Bitcoin. And take a look. Just blow it up. What was Thursday? Thursday last week was the 31st. So the 31st was about there. We were in here looking for a pullback to 45 and change. We got as low as 44.1, have this alternate bat, and now we're just doing the type 1 reaction. This is where we want to start to be lining up for the week, larger possibilities. I said this last week. You'd want to see a pause. There were some things, and I'll get to it in a second, that are up at 47,000, no problem. Come back to this 45, 44 area, and now do the secondary test. Confirm the support at 44,000. Now we have a bat pattern. Harmonic pattern collection generating the structure, and I think the real clear takeaway: the more time you spend with the software, and the more you respect the levels and are able to respond to the levels in the reaction reversal framework that we talk about every session, the better trader you will become. The levels, the software is doing the work for us. It's like I just can't explain how huge of an advancement to be able to know not only what the levels are, but that you have true harmonic levels that you're dealing with that the market is clearly responding off of. So within Bitcoin, come back and confirm this level. So maybe we go back to 44.1, hit the XA level. I would expect that to be another quick secondary reaction. And then we set it up for the next leg. So take a look at the daily chart, folks. We were tracing out just essentially this smaller extension. Actually on the 4-hour. Looks like this. And we're really just looking at the action from March, which is interesting because before I was saying let's just consider the action from January, the 2022 action. Now let's just look at this swing. And anything beyond that is really, I don't want to, I think it's getting ahead of yourself. Let me bring this back in. So just so we know what you're dealing with at the moment, you're in the midst of that larger 1618 extension. Should get us to 51,000. Now, you're seeing some consolidation, not a problem, but this larger swing move going off of the March decline, think of it that way. If that March decline was just a corrective kind of pullback, then we should be able to see a 1618 realized off of that swing alone. Don't think about anything else. The other aspect, again, go to your slightly longer time frame, okay, is the fact on the 4-hour, the daily, we know we're coming off of major levels. There's major patterns up here. Even on that 4-hour time frame, we see a few different back-to-back patterns. Just to highlight this 49,000 level, that is an eventual type 2 retest level. It helps to give us some more confidence in the fact that we have higher targets to be realized. Until we get up there, just look for this thing to go through a typical stair-step process: retracement, consolidation, extension. That's what we're doing. Bitcoin's, look, if Bitcoin was going to do something, pull back more, and that last rally was not really that much of a, really wasn't that constructive, then this would have rolled over. You'd see this a lot lower. Also, bring this up. Go to the daily. Thank you. We want to keep an eye on the most recent HSI test and amplified test. So both of them triggered an oversold or overbought reading. Okay, but they're quickly coming out. Get back here. Quickly letting out a lot of steam, letting out, as I like to say, a lot of air out of the tire, where you're going to get down to that 50 level on amplified probably in the next day or two. It's not going to take much in the way of price. So that's something to think about, because when a trend can let out a lot of the HSI extreme, meaning it can move from one extreme to the next without doing much in price, usually that's, again, more consolidation behavior. You have that right here. Bitcoin did a big thrust up. Now we're in a kind of a pause phase where look how much price hasn't moved. For example, HSI has already done about 80% of the work it needs to do before we can trigger another continuation signal where we go higher. The nice thing about this coming signal and what we should see out of it is a retest, not only in the indicator but the price, where both of them are at a higher point than the preceding level. So you've got some prior readings back here and here, and we should get another reading in a day or two that says, okay, oversold, get ready for the turnaround and continuation higher. I'm looking for that setup. Maybe by Wednesday, where this larger move can take shape. We need to go to things like, you need to take a look at things, and as much as you look at Bitcoin, you now need to look at Luna and a few others that I'm going to get to. Remember the Gartley? Check that out. Let me fix the, don't know why that, oh, okay. It's a different setting on the color for the size. But let me fix this. Just make that a bit brighter with everything. And good. Okay. That Gartley, I talked about this last week. Since really exploding off that zone at 50 is now more than doubled. Go back to the sessions from February. Basically, we laid out the reason why Luna was a great opportunity. And we were looking for a type 1 that gets you between target 1, but target 2 was more likely, especially has been in crypto. And it just exploded. Go back last Monday. I'm not going to do it today, but we walked through why that continuation and why this explosion has a lot more to go. This is where a type 1 reaction becomes a home run. Quite frankly, it's just a home run in development. And you can ride that trend line, look for pullbacks along the way. And here was the thing. This is what I did want to mention from, I think it was a 4-hour chart. There you go. I should reference the video and go back to March. But this is the one situation that for everyone that's a Harmonic Pattern Collection subscriber, owner, this is what we want to be looking for. Because we talked about a lot of the bearish short-term patterns that have developed, essentially completed at the end of last week, and they all did the type 1 correction right down to target 1. In the case of Luna, that was $75. And then came back for the return, where type 2 return and full retest, right, still gave you some kind of reaction move. But then look at what goes on. The thing never takes out a prior low. You have, there's your ideal type 2, because there's your first the confirmation, the hop level at 98.75, and then start the clock. 30 days, where are you? 30 days is right there. No movement, not even out of the zone. And you get all the way to where we are now. I have to go over, it's 90 bars. And you've broken out. You know, you broke out in terms of time from there to there. Sorry, 30 bars after that secondary test is there. Zero follow through. And now you're 100 and 55 bars. So pretty clear. That violated that past pattern is a major breakout within this long-term uptrend. And you could just trace it out like this. At that point above 106 is a price breakout, but in terms of time, this thing has been, let's say, not failed, but flawed, really since middle of March. A lot going on in that chart with Luna. I mean, don't take your eyes off of it, because the weekly pattern, and I mentioned this a while ago, where you want to see Luna do this. You want to see some cryptos go crazy a little bit now and do the breakout to kind of show you that, hey, people are lurking. Big money is lurking, and they're going to move these prices again in another cycle. Take a look at the larger possibilities for Luna. I think everyone knows what I'm going to do. First of all, if it's this strong, and tell me what's going on at the 886 to 1.0, because that's the harmonic breakout point at around 102, where the larger continuation goes to the 1618 around 140, then have a pullback 382, and then go again, stair-stepping its way to much higher prices. It kind of reminds me of Binance Coin from a year ago. I mean, once Binance Coin really took off above 100, 150, there was no turning back. But I don't expect the same coins to do the same things these other ones did a year ago. There's Binance Coin. Look at Binance Coin. Who wants to connect dots with me? Here we go. Start like this. X to A. Now, do we have an M formation? We do. We could go there for a 45%, which would trigger an 886, or go off of that one, which is a perfect 618. So we say 786. 786 is there, but the ABCD component and 886 right there. Your 886 is dead on the money, actually, at the high. So I would expect with Binance Coin having that reaction, we'll come back and retest. But Binance Coin, okay, and Solana, Solana would be like here for the next move to a 1618. Binance Coin, if this is going to do a breakout move, you need to fail that pattern. You need to fail, I think it's on a daily, yeah, the daily chart's got, there you go. The daily chart does have a few back-to-back patterns, and recently Binance Coin with this bullish bat at around 350 was the low. A lot going on there. It really is absolutely set up in the right spot where, it just requires some patience and discipline to write it properly and read it. Binance Coin could go into a full type 1 reaction, run up, target, go to target 1 at 463, and then come back. But again, each one of these are setting up for, even if this is a minimum type 1 reaction for now, we're going to hit a retest here in the next month, 2 months, that will put us in the position for all of the trends to continue, if they're going to continue. I think there's a lot to consider where we are. A lot of these markets have done huge 886 reactions, retests, full resets, as we say, and then has finally confirmed the bottom on them. Let's take a look at Doge really quick on the daily. Big news on Twitter, and I'll talk some more stocks tomorrow. Today I want to do crypto. Big news with Elon Musk taking a 10% stake in Twitter. And I had mentioned this before. He's looking to move money. And I think money's going to come back into Doge. I think he'll throw more money into Doge. I think he'll throw more money into Bitcoin. So, as someone who I made a lot of money on Doge last year. And it was because of the patterns I saw, but the simple fact that Elon Musk was behind this thing. And we've done a massive, textbook retracement on Doge. If you go back to the crazy run, I mean, we could go like that from there, but essentially very close to all-time 886. You're an 886 off of the insane parabolic run that came in around 13 cents. Your all-time 886 is about 9 cents. Something like that. A minimum 382 bounce on Doge, and I just want to put this up there. It's about 34 cents. Just start looking. If you haven't made a move yet, back into the crypto space, we are definitely early in development, but we're in development. And that's the thing about Bitcoin as well. Despite running a solid, 33,000 to 47,000? Do the math, 14,000. The larger move that's setting up hasn't even taken shape yet. Again, 382 bounce move on Doge of just 34 cents, something like that. And of course, all-time 886. I don't want to go there yet. Just want to be thinking 382 reactions off of these crazy lows if we can get them to run. Here's Polkadot. Another one doing 886 to 886. Yeah, think of it like that. That's the meat of the resistance. There's support right in an 886. And I know this one on the daily, yep, had the crab down there. This was a type 2 crab because check out the first reaction and then the retest. Amazing. Polkadot right to target 1 at 22.57. Come all the way back down to XA, retest it, stabilize for a few days, make the secondary low, and now you're just setting up that larger trend. Minimum target 2, that's where the secondary retest off of any pattern puts it. So despite the pullback today, really a nothing. Not too concerned, not surprised. We had a heck of a week last week, and this stuff is doing what it should be doing in type 2 reversals, where your target 2 level, they're higher. Takes more time. A couple more. Because some of these that are either they've done the retest or they still need a little bit more time. They are situations I'm looking at immediately. Here's Decentraland on the daily. Where was that? Maybe it was a 4-hour. Oh, I think it was also Sandbox was the other one we were looking at. Uh, yeah, actually, mana on the 4 hour, just doing the 1-2. Perfect type 2 off the bat from last week. Back up, type 1, back down, and then there's the type 2, and we will just stair step because you have a grab off of that low. So Decentraland, that's your secondary low. That's the type 2 low right there. You ran into a deep crab on the way up, slam it down for a 1-2 reaction. Now once you get above this resistance, above 285, certainly anything above 3, this thing should start to accelerate against the larger trend or resuming the larger trend. Sandbox is, we talked about that last week. And that actually, there you go. Go on the daily. And I prefer all of these daily and weekly patterns, then break it down to like a 4 hour. Find a daily pattern if it's a type 1, or really if it's a type 2, like Sandbox is. Okay, the XA at 277, clearly stabilizing there, and it's going to take time. These type 2s will get stretched out, but that's still all right. There's 277. Trying to get, it's having some difficulty at the moment, but what we're looking for is that type 2 move. Type 2 reversal move to target 2 at 622. Just going to need time. That could stretch out for a while. But I'm looking for that to turn up. Come on up here. Let me go to, here's something, I don't know if I mentioned this, maybe I flashed this a while ago. It's another S coin, but it shows us when you get overstretched, you go too far, and then it can stabilize for a while. This is, I think, the one caveat of these situations where you could be at a pattern completion or all the way down the hop, the first bar, second bar, and try to take a shot. But once these things get, once they become flawed, I like to say, where the major downtrend just continues, the predominant trend is persisting, looks like it's going to go on forever. We always want to wait for that trendline violation. And that's what's happening. If you go back, I said this a lot in February. We want to be to the right of these downtrends and start looking there, which is what happened with this SKL, this scale. And now, clearly in a type 1 pullback. All right, this is treated like this. That's a type 1 reaction. Come on down, back down for full type 2 possibly. No, actually XA on this is the trigger point. That's 1646. But you have back-to-back patterns, which we've been seeing a lot. Obviously, you go from 10 to 32. You're going to pull back. I mean, it's 300% in a very short period of time. Welcome to crypto. But now let's do the 61.8% pullback. So we'll wait for it. A quick shout out to the chat. What's going on? Yeah, I'll look at Ren. People asking for one or two things. I will go, another 15 or 20. We'll focus on crypto. Tomorrow we'll do markets. Thursday was just rough. The weekend was rough. Still trying to shake this, get 100%. Simply by not talking. Usually best for me. Well, not really, but for scale, I'll keep an eye back as soon as it gets under 24. I'm looking for HSI. Someone's asking what's the trigger on these? It's a harmonic strength index signal with relative strength. Keep an eye on it. No, you did not miss Ethereum, but let's look at Ethereum. It's another one that's going to go through some patterns here, but we were talking about it's flashing this butterfly. You see that? I'm just checking some data feeds. There's Gemini. Big fat Gartley. Huh. But this has been not the prettiest of patterns, if you will. We know 2450, absolute, write it down, moving support for the long-term trend. And we're still targeting, depending on what time frame you're looking at, but something higher, 3660, 3700. Where's the 4 hour? Got to come back to this. But just looking for short-term resistance. That's it. A pause or some kind of pattern here coming off of the peak like we see in Bitcoin. We started with Bitcoin. It's got a bat pattern, a high-level bat pattern about to get retested. That's exactly the same kind of thing we want to see in Ethereum. You have a couple levels here around 34, 3450. I mean, this is just short-term stuff. Not too concerned. What's the futures contract look like on that? Perpetual. Daily time frame. Oh, that's the inverse. Sorry. Yeah, the probably the biggest level again relative to the daily time frame is target 1 at 3712. So a pause. Again, just pause. Pause is probably the best thing. And in some of the other altcoins that we've been talking about, if we get that secondary pullback, retest, and then explosion, that's where it should happen. Check out FTM. Perfect spot for this kind of a situation. It's a bat pattern. It's actually an alternate bat pattern because you have a 382 at your B point. But look, back in December, you crashed down right to the 886 off the October low. Sets you up. You do a large type 1 reaction. Okay? But then what happens? You break the trend line. That's usually the last event, the last technical event. And we could even say that trend line off of that reactive low was violated back here. All the way in early January. Come back down. And 123, right, is the XA level that we're not too far from. You're trading 152 at the moment. But longer term, we know type 2s. They can take 30 days. They could take 30 days to trigger. They could take 30 days to develop. The type 2 reversal, they could take 90 days to get to target 2, something like that. But at least you see clear positive development. There's your XA level. And ever since, basically that mid-March low, we're on a rope. On a rope. But even with that steady uptrend, and let's be conservative, but throw the trend line underneath it to 258, 259, still will take us till June. Understand that's how long this stuff can require. So our job against these patterns, and I talked about that Thursday and last Monday, is we want to be trying to get in on little pullbacks against the large support zones. Yeah, let's look at total. Total crypto market cap looks like this. And we did get an HSI signal. So um, here's the thing I said last Monday, depending on where we finish the week, do we get any follow through? At 2.09 against that crab pattern. We really knocked this out last Monday, and a lot of the long-term stuff hasn't changed. So do look at last Monday's, because we went through the entire palette of the major cryptos where most of them completed type 1 reactions like this. So my question will be for total crypto market cap, what are we going to do off of that uptrend? That's your real decider. It definitely is something to pay attention. The fact that you have a HSI signal, a counter HSI signal, now you do a few days later. So, okay, we're stalling at level 1. What possibly could happen is come back. Since your XA level is, it's fairly high, the any kind of pullback scenario would take you maybe just there. But that's, I personally don't want to see 1.72 ever again. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Best thing that would happen here is this just goes sideways, grinds, and then HSI comes all the way down like this. I think we're going to pause. I think don't be surprised to see that. We saw that on Bitcoin where retest of 44,000. Okay, satisfy that bat pattern. Wouldn't be a problem in that process. Okay, HSI comes down and gets oversold pretty fast with a maximum limit at 1.71, even though that's a nice 10% lower. Keep an eye on it. I think it could, the thing I feel like might happen is you're setting up for a really nice spot and it could disguise itself as some kind of nasty correction when it's actually just putting itself on the launch pad for the larger move. Does the deep crab still show up on the total 4-hour? Didn't we have some reactions? Yeah, there you go. And this is the pause. Maybe this is what we were talking about. We did have some kind of extension structure in Bitcoin, but I knew we had this massive 4-hour. We had a massive 4-hour crab pattern. You're looking at it on total crypto market cap where it exemplifies the pause. Right here is the terminal bar, that sun icon. And then tell me what the price action's doing at that level. That's the question you should ask yourself at any level it hits. Makes it actually easier when you're looking at the software, it's generating some levels. Let's say someone has a hot tip on Bitcoin and they think there's going to be some new adoption. Maybe instead of El Salvador, it's going to be India decides to adopt. I don't care. If I see a big pattern like this, no fundamental situation is going to tell me. Jump in right there. Go through the pause. If we could get a type 1 pullback, almost did. That would have been the best thing at 1.94. Then you would have set up for the larger move. But instead, it actually acted stronger. Here's your zone. Let me clean this up. Let's count the bars. Again, tell me what's happening 30 bars after the completion. Did you hit target 1? Nope. Did you get close? Not really. there's 30 bars. And your last HSI signal is right there. So this thing's trying to go up again. And a breakout above 214 basically negates the whole pattern. Thanks. The hop level and the way that we would target that back up to 226. So all of the character here is pause behavior that if it trips up higher is where it could get going. Want to just show XRP because that did a type 1 reaction. We've been looking at XRP for a while and it's slow. We know it's going to be slow. This has got, remember, a couple of big patterns, 1618 extensions. Your terminal bars are basically around 86 cents. But it did a target 1 pullback finally. 77.9, 78 cents, call it. This is on a 4-hour, and this is against the weekly, remember, weekly structure. Oh, here you go. As I said, weekly. Yeah, there you go. Weekly Gartley. So you're building. I still say XRP is the one to watch because I'm looking for signs of this thing to break out of short-term resistance, even 3-month, 6-month resistance. Once you get above that target 1 for XRP at above 101, 102, it's gone. And XA at 55, that's already been retested twice, folks. That is, type 2 doubly confirmed. And just taking its time. Look, it's going to draw out for a while and do like a primary uptrend off of that low. But what we will be anticipating is some kind of, I like to call it a saucer separation. When the Enterprise like detaches from the main part of the ship and then you just have the saucer. I don't know if any of you guys saw that Star Trek movie, but where the trend just goes doink and gets into an accelerated expansion. That's what we should be looking for. XRP. Yeah, there's the other one in the X area. XYO. You did have a move. I'll bring that up. Looks like it's getting clock handed, getting knocked down. But that's another one where this is just one of these speculation super S coins, barely a top 100. The market cap on this thing is only a couple 100 million, but I talked about why these lower cap S coins, if they set up right, these are the ones that can give the monster percentage gain. Still going to take a while. We did have progress. I mean, this is, got really killed down to 1.6, almost 1.5. Since then, you're stair-stepping up off the lows. I think this was featured recently by one of the big influencers. And it was pretty interesting. I'm looking at that as a full reset opportunity and then give me, a multiple X return when this thing goes back to essentially kind of retest minimum levels on its range. XYO, that's not the right feed, the Coinbase feed. There you go. Really early, but a couple of the things we highlighted were the fact that it's to the right of the downtrend, however tight you want to draw that. And then again, minimum 382 moves or 618 moves. Those are the kind of reaction speculative moves that are the major percentage jumps. Zcash, now we're down in the XYZs. Remember this one. And again, I think this is going to give you an opportunity because it's doing a type 1 reaction off of a deep crab that tried to fail this thing. Tried to fail the hop level. I would say this is a good example of a flawed pattern. Because even if you're looking at that, look, there's your original completion point. It's kind of skewed because the 1618 happened pretty fast, but you did manage a type 1 reaction from target 1 right there down to the level, and you came back. When you came back to do the type 2, you actually went right through the hop and finally triggered. So keep an eye on this. All right, it went much higher than the hop level. This price action taking it out on the secondary test is indicative of a failed secondary retest. But now you're almost at that point where let's see how far it comes off of that. You always want to look for that pullback opportunity. I think the misconception on a lot of these is that you're supposed to jump right in when it violates. When in fact you get a lot of these mini pullbacks and then they go. And we're almost there on HSI. For Zcash, pretty good area. Maybe a little bit lower. That's like Monero. There's a whole bunch of stuff in this X range. Yeah, here's on the daily. Look at Monero. It's crazy. Monero is a crab pattern. Beautiful. The 1618 throwdown from the September low, basically by Jan 20, you stabilized, you did a reaction retest. Now it's an official type 1, folks, because we reached target 1 above 203. How are we going to come back and do the full retest? That's what I want to see. If you're in on that reaction, it's almost over. Let's get into doing a 30-day count. We can do that 30 bar level from each pivot point. You can go from terminal bar, or here's target 1. And in fact, look at what target 1 did. I missed this. We actually hit target 1 back on the 8th of March. Did you come all the way back? No. So even though you hit target 1, which you could be out by 203, tell me what's going on 30 bars later. 30 bars is like that. Keep an eye on this thing. It's not there yet. Really, there's nothing there yet, but maybe on the hourly or the 4-hour. Oh, look, I was going to say, we're looking for bullish patterns. And so Zcash has a bat pattern with a hop level at 205. That's what we want to see. How are we going to know whether this stuff's going to fully pull back, or is this the continuation where from a high level you get another bullish pattern, you go up, you do a reaction, you come back for the retest, because they're not all in the same position, where like Bitcoin's on its way back right now to retest a high level bat pattern. Are we going to explode off of that? Off of that secondary test? That's what I'm anticipating for the larger leg. Remember, folks, I also said that April should be a big month. We should see a big candle this month for April. Let's circle it back. Let's go to total. And it's important to maintain that perspective. I don't like the saying, if in doubt, zoom out. I like to, I prefer to say, if in doubt, get out. I mean, if you're a trader and you're in doubt and you've got money on the line, folks, please step aside until you get clear. Someone sent me a note, told me they had been last week. Here's something. Let me take a second and explain this one to you. Last week, someone sends me a note and they said they're in a real rut for trading. They've had just terrible 6 months. And he asked me what to do. I said, stop trading. I said, look at your last whatever number of losses and identify it, label it on the chart. Because if you've been losing for 6 months and you haven't stopped to take a look at what you're doing to correct your ways, well, go to the casino. It's more fun. It's definitely more fun. We want to be aware of time intervals. We want to be aware of key levels and what these things are doing to kind of build the argument, build the story. Because once this price history gets established and we go into the next cycle, all of these prices that we saw in the past 3-6 months that are full reset moves are going to seem like distant memories. And you're gonna really wish you were in on those patterns, in on those type 2 reversals. Because you're trying to establish massive cyclical lows. And it can start with something as simple as a weekly, here's total crypto market cap, or go to the monthly, where you get month over month, and we can get a strong candle on total crypto market cap where you close above 215, or I'll do one better. If you're anything above 2.3 trillion, you go to all-time new highs for your monthly close. So you're 4 weeks away. Look, where that ends up to the top side will be a lot more important. If you have like a flat to bearish close this month, it's not going to really mean anything. But if you get a bullish close and you hold generally this 2 trillion area and you find yourself above 2.3, I would think you'd be at all-time new highs by June or July at the latest. That's where you are. We're actually there on the market. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, about what the potential of this crazy market is. It's not what you think. It's doing things, but it's going to be a real character market. That's the way I describe it. Crypto, I really think crypto is trying to enter into a new cycle. Like this was a corrective cycle a year ago with that Bitcoin conference, was basically the top. And this was a 8 month cycle, then another corrective 3-month cycle. Are we about to go into another 6-month up cycle? Because you'd get a lot of money flow into there. You go from 2 point whatever trillion above 3. Yeah, you would see a lot of altcoins move. And I still say altcoins are the place to be. If you want safety, go to Bitcoin or Ethereum. So just remember that. One or two more. I know someone's asking for LRC because, yeah, LRC, there's your monthly, but LRC is this on the daily, remember? That is so beautiful, that bat pattern. Okay? Look for entries. This is another excellent example of a massive pattern at your back. And this is incredibly significant. It's only going to take one oversold reading, one oversold HSI, one oversold amplified, come back down within that larger zone. Maybe you come down for another day or two, and then we will pivot out. That might be by Thursday, LRC, and you go again. This is just getting extended, stretched out. Remember what I said about these primary uptrends on these extended moves. They can take time. If anything, this is kind of the mini pullback phase you want to be looking for. I talked about that last Monday too. And then from there, you get the accelerated move. Keep an eye on this development. For a lot of people that are new or have just come on with getting harmonic pattern collection, what you are putting together right now is the experience, the real world experience. You're putting together an understanding of how these longer term patterns on the daily or 4-hour or even weekly, how they unfold within your day-to-day life of, hey, if it takes 6 months to go 300%, that's amazing. And it's worth the work every day. That's the kind of thought process we're looking for in these. So what I recommend is everyone check out the basic members page as a basic member. And what I'm going to suggest, a little maybe reading assignment, is to go to volume 3. Okay, check out volume 3, download it all there. Meanwhile, as that's loading, I'll say get with the software. Not only get with the TradingView product, but check out one of the other pro platforms. I'm running at least 3 software. So you guys can access 2 of these, a pro and a TradingView, and have everything you need. But go to volume 3, okay, and just take a look at some of the examples with, it's the second half of the book, talking a lot about what to be expecting in these zones, and really talks about kind of development phases, what to be looking for within the window, and then not only that, but for trade management considerations, how to understand, things like tracking HSI for trade management, how to look at the trend lines. If you go to page 293 in volume 3, that's where we really get into talking about accelerated and primary trend lines, which is exactly what we're dealing with in crypto, that it takes time. And that's the place to look and reference the material, the resource material. Again, become a basic member, everything there on harmonictrader.com, and then get with the software. Yeah, Ren's the other one. I see you. Thank you, Crypto Wolf. Ren is, and I have Ren still on it. Look, massive butterfly. Just doing an extended move out of the zone. And that's okay. There are a few patterns actually for Ren back to back. Look at that. Beautiful bat. Massive bat. Type 1 reaction. Massive. All the way back down in Ren. Okay. Taking its time. It's a type 2 by definition against that bat pattern, but I would still say, that's got to do a type 1. I don't know if that will necessarily come all the way back. It could. But you have a couple of massive patterns in Ren, but that's how many of these have we seen? And if we do get off of these lows, and it develops into a new cycle, and that could take all year to go up, come all the way back down. But these weekly charts, these monthly charts are putting in lows, they're stabilizing to where you need to be thinking, okay, what are my all-time ranges on here? Not this isn't that doesn't really work, but with all of these, that's kind of the how we should be considering possibility from a harmonic framework perspective. We'll get back up there. There's a whole bunch of bag holders up there, I'll tell you, that want to get out, back out, but that's a 3-4x off of these moves. And I think the thing about really just taking more time, all right, helps to gain perspective in not only where to get in, but how long to hold and what we should know about management. Because these will take time, but they're in a perfect spot. So be mindful of that. Let's stay focused on that. I think I could say a lot the same for the major market, which I'll talk about tomorrow. I'll talk about Nasdaq. Just taking a quick peek. Nasdaq's up 100 and 250. It was up more. S&P's up 23. Crude oil and the rest of them continue higher. Crude oil is up 270. Gold's up 1150. Gold, crude oil, we'll talk about all that tomorrow. Again, the picture hasn't changed. We're all in the same long-term framework with a lot of these harmonic patterns. It's just they're going to need time. And I've been saying this is a situation where it's about time, not price. And unless that changes, I'll stay with it. But here's the deal on Bitcoin, and this is why I say look for these massive patterns. Because we saw it in Ethereum, we saw it in total crypto, and we saw it in Bitcoin preceding the massive bull cycle. And this bull cycle for Bitcoin could still be in development despite everything, despite two 50% corrections. You go to these weekly and monthly charts for Bitcoin, that's massive. That's an uptrend. And was preceded by two back-to-back massive weekly perfect bullish bat patterns, which we see time and time again are giving us huge signals. These are the monster signals, but Bitcoin, off of that secondary pattern, still took, 60 weeks? That's over a year to get to the top if you were going to take it out at the top. And if we're still in the uptrend, that's 112 weeks. And we still are in an uptrend. So don't lose sight of that. I want to focus on the next level opportunities that are showing us weekly patterns where we're here and we're here before there. Please be thinking about that. Even with this pullback, good. Let it come back. Let it come in. We're going to get that next launch pad. That should be the type 2s. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow, folks. Get into the other markets. Again, get with me on Harmonic Trader. Get with the software, Harmonic Pattern Collection. I have a few new announcements tomorrow. I'd say I'm about 90%. When I get to 100, let's go. Thanks again, folks. Go get them. Come on back tomorrow, same time. Until then, have a great day.